Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me on another episode of Meet the Expert on the Block. I am Dawn Block with Century 21 First Class Homes. I'm your host. We will be introducing my special guest in a little bit. I just want to make a shout out there that if you are out there and you have been following the Meet the Expert on the Block stream live, that you can follow my Dawn Block Realtor Facebook page and you will be notified of the new live streams that will be coming up. But we would love to see a like, a love. If you have any comments, don't forget to put your comment in. We'd love to hear from you. Also, we are streaming live, yes, on Facebook. We're streaming on LinkedIn, Twitter, and my YouTube channels. And too, we should be streaming live on my special guest website too, our Facebook page, if it's set up. But I just want to take a moment and say why I do this before I introduce my special guest. The reason I do this is because we need to support our local businesses. It's an interesting thing out there now that I've been meeting a lot of people and what they do and learning more about their businesses, that it just all the stories that come out of the people that I meet, I think are very interesting. And two, you really get to see how a business is running and how they let us know how it's running. So what I would like to do is I would like to introduce now my special guest. His name is Tony Mathews. He is with Keyrenter Property Management, Northwest Chicago. So Tony, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and letting people know how they can get in touch with you.
Well, thank you so much, Dawn, for the opportunity. I really appreciate you having me come out here. And again, my name's Tony Mathews with Keyrenter Northwest Chicago Property Management. People can get in touch with me by phone. My number is 847-407-1212. And then by email, it's tony@keyrenternorthwestchicago.com.
And before we pull up the slideshow that you brought, that you so kindly put together for us, I would love for you to just kind of let people know the reason for you jumping into this business that you're in right now.
Yeah, so real estate it's been a part of my life, my whole life. My grandfather was a developer, so he would buy up farmland and put homes on there. And one of my uncles is a contractor. My dad and my other uncle, they owned a bunch of Coldwell Banker real estate offices. So kind of grew up in that environment growing up. And I always gravitated towards the investment side of real estate. So property management, I get to work with investors all the time.
Well, that's great. I mean, what you're doing is basically taking a lot of headaches off of landlords. So I think that's awesome. And we're going to go into a little bit in depth with you. I'm going to take off this and we're going to bring up your presentation. And what I'd like to know is just give us a little bit about you, when you started, how many years you've been doing this, and a little bit of a backstory, if you will.
Yeah, so I worked for the family business basically right out of college. I worked with my grandfather directly. We were working on a development right as the market was about to crash. So we had I think it was 200 acres of property that we were putting homes on, and almost, overnight, it felt like there was no market for new homes. So I kind of pivoted my real estate journey. I had my real estate license at the time, and then I started buying investment properties. So short sales, foreclosures, and that's kind of how I got my start. So the first couple of years were kind of rough there, but then once I pivoted, it was kind of a good transition for me.
It seems like when that market we went through that change in the market, everybody was pivoting what they were doing and how they were doing things. So it's like, you have to be, I think in this business, you have to just be kind of creative with the way you do and kind of change with the times, don't you?
Absolutely. And the market's always changing. So now we have, higher interest rates, and it's making certain things challenging. So, yeah, that's kind of how I got my start with it. And, yeah, just growing up in that environment, I always kind of gravitated towards the investment side of real estate. So like I said, working with investors and kind of streamlining the tenant management process and just the entire management of the property, I can help investors take some stress out of the real estate investing for them.
So is that's the main reason? Can you elaborate a little bit more why the property management that you're jumping into?
Yeah, I just see a huge need for, a lot of investors, they love real estate for the investment. It's a very good investment over time. People always need somewhere to live. But they don't necessarily like being a landlord. So we can take over that for them, and really they can press the easy button when it comes to investing and just not even have to worry about, what's going on with their tenant. Like we handle all that for them.
That's taking the stress out of being a landlord. So I think that's something that, we work with renters with landlords all the time. And it's like, there's just so many things that you have to be watching out, especially now, if you're in Cook County, you've got the Just Housing Amendment, you've got the new way of the new lease that came out, and you handle all of that, correct?
Yes. So yeah, we do use the new Cook County lease for those properties. So Keyrenter is, as you can see on the screen here, we're part of, it's a franchise. So we have almost 60 locations now across the country. There's 3 franchise owners in Chicago. So we got kind of the entire downtown and suburbs covered between the 3 of us. And what's great about this model is we kind of have the best of both worlds when it comes to how to manage the properties. We're part of a big company, but we're locally owned. So we, in our market, we know what's going on, but we have this nice process in place because it's a bigger company. We can have like the software and all the other things that a big company would have when it comes to management.
So when did the franchise start?
So the first Keyrenter started in 2010, and they went to expand. So it grew pretty fast. The first one was in Salt Lake City, and they wanted to put one, I believe, in like Vegas and a couple other nearby cities. And they decided on the franchise model because instead of hiring like a local person to run that specific office, they wanted someone that's a little more vested in it. So having like an owner of that business kind of run it and just take the model that's already working and replicate it in their local market. That's what has worked, and it's really nice for me because I can lean on other property managers across the country and just kind of ask, hey, have you had this situation? How have you dealt with this in the past? And most of the time someone has had the exact same issue before, so it's really a nice resource for us.
It's nice because you can bounce ideas off of each other's, off each other's backs. You have 3 branches is that in all of Illinois, or it's in the Chicagoland area?
Yeah, these 3 are all that we have in Illinois, and they're all based in the Chicago market. Yep. So John's got kind of the North Shore area. He's out of Park Ridge, and Mary's, her office is in Oak Park. So she handles kind of the near west suburbs, and then downtown she goes.
Oh, okay. So the Keyrenter method, the best of both worlds. Can you give us a little bit of idea of what is your core focus?
Yeah, so when you break it down, like our kind of tagline is creating wealth through real estate. So how can we help our clients create and maintain the investment that they've made in real estate? And what we found was it comes down to placing the best tenants that you can get in there. And when you have a great tenant and a great relationship with that tenant, they're going to take care of the property. They're going to pay their rent. So there's different things that we do kind of above and beyond to kind of make sure that that happens. And that goes back to kind of, maintaining that asset that our clients have.
Now you have core services, like there's many different things that you do with your services. You do property marketing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, let's go through these services that you do provide.
Yeah, absolutely. So property marketing, we're going to take professional photos. We're going to get you on all of the major websites so that, as you know, Don, everyone finds their properties online these days. So we want to make sure we show up very well online. So we post on the MLS. We do co-ops with other brokers, tenant screening. What's great about Keyrenter is we have a whole tenant screening department that all they do all day long is screen tenants. So they get really good at it. Whereas your individual landlord, maybe they screen one tenant a year, maybe a couple a year. So being able to really kind of weed out the tenants that we don't want in these properties is, I feel like that's a big strength with our company. And then we'll do, the leasing agreements. Once we select one of those tenants, we'll write up the lease and have them sign it. We do the move-in inspection. We do regular inspections throughout the year, usually 2 in addition to the move-in and move-out, and then collecting rent. So we try to make it really easy for our tenants to collect rent. We have a portal that they can log into and set up automatic payments, or they can do one-time payments. A lot of landlords that are kind of on their own, they just do it the old-fashioned way, send the check in the mail, and you know how that can go sometimes.
Yes. So, yeah, you could lose it.
Right. So we kind of make it easy for them. That same portal, they're able to upload any maintenance requests that they have, upload pictures, video if they got a video of some maintenance issue going on, and then our handymen are able to kind of respond to that and get out there and schedule time to go in. Being part of this bigger network, we have a 24-hour emergency hotline for tenants. If there is an emergency, they can get someone on the phone right away, which is important when you're trying to keep that good rapport with your tenant. Evictions management. So we have kind of a guarantee for our owners where we'll cover up to $1,500 towards an eviction. We feel like if we're the ones that place a tenant and they stop paying or for whatever reason, we want to cover that cost. It's pretty rare. Our eviction rate is less than 0.5%. So nationwide, it's much higher than that. But our Keyrenter is about 0.5%.
Well, you could see that because with your processes that you have and having everything online and that 24/7 emergency maintenance response, I think that's awesome because your communication with your tenants is an ongoing thing as well, and also with your landlord too, just to keep the lines of communication open.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's key. Just communication is the number one complaint when it comes to property management, and we try to over communicate. So we kind of are able to kind of document all of these different things too through our software. So like the maintenance and accounting and stuff like that, it's all right there in our software.
I see that you have a owner and a tenant portal too.
Right. So the owners can log in and kind of see any maintenance thing that went on. If it's a bigger ticket item, obviously we're going to call them on the phone and let them know what's going on. But they can see, any kind of maintenance request, and then all their accounting is on there too. So they'll get a monthly statement from us just showing the rent that was collected minus any maintenance. And then they're able to kind of forward those documents to their CPA. So it makes it real easy for them.
So it's like a one-stop shop. It's getting the stress out of owning an investment property because you're handling everything.
Yes. Yep. It's turning your real estate into more of like owning a stock. So it's very hands off for our owners.
So you say that there's two types of clients. Can you tell us a little? You say what is an accidental landlord?
Yeah, it's funny because when I talk about this, a lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about, because sometimes people they acquire these investment properties by accident. So a lot of times they used to live in the property and then they decide to turn it into a rental. So it's not like they bought the property with the intention of becoming a landlord, but by default, they become that when they rent it out. Or there's like a job transfer where, one day they want to move back into the property. So they'll have us kind of, manage it while they're out of state. And then, these type of owners, it's a little bit different. Like a lot of them they just want to know their property's taken care of. The financial gain is there also because, real estate's a good investment, but that's usually not their core focus. They want the property to be maintained properly and taken care of and professionally managed, because a lot of times they don't know what the landlord tenant laws are. So we can help them with that.
You also have the next type is a professional investor, correct?
Right.
Let us know what that is.
Yeah. So this is, somebody that is, actively looking for more properties. They view real estate investing as like a core part of their portfolio, and they're looking at the numbers on deals, and a lot of times these people get into real estate because they know it's a great investment, but then once they have a handful of these properties, they realize how much work it can be. And we can take that stress away from them so they can focus on getting more properties or whatever their main business is. They can focus on that or their family. So it's a good scenario. They really start to feel the stress once they get more than a couple properties.
Well, and especially too, if you have a full-time job, you're working 9 to 5, you come home, and then you know that you might have to be calling up these properties for whatever reason, a hot water heater, if there's a problem with something that's going on in the house. So it's nice to know that you're here to take care of it. Is there an agreement that a landlord would have with you?
Absolutely. So every property that we manage, there is a management agreement, and it's pretty straightforward. It's not super long or anything, but it kind of outlines what the expectations are for us as a company, like what the services we're going to provide, and then it talks about what the owner is responsible for, and then and we have a couple different services that we provide, like bundle packages. There's kind of like the lease only option would be you would hire us to market the property, screen the tenant, get the lease signed, and then at that point it's kind of on you to manage the property. So that's like a lease only option, and we charge 1 month's rent for that. And then we have the full property management service, is what we kind of already talked about with those core services. So we do everything. So we market the property, we screen the tenants, we place the tenants, we get the agreement signed, and move in, move out inspections, collect rents, maintenance requests, all that stuff is part of the full service.
So for anybody that's interested in your services, they can go to your website for pricing.
Yeah, we don't have any hidden fees or anything. Everything's on our website. It's all listed out. KeyrenterNorthwestChicago.com.
Great, great. And two, do you work with realtors?
Absolutely. So, I've been a realtor for, gosh, what is it, 15 years now, but I don't do buy sell transactions. So I just do the property management piece, and we have a good referral program for our realtors. A lot of realtors, they just want to list property and work with buyers, and they don't really want to work with rentals. So we can take that stress off of their plate as well, and they can get a nice referral fee. And then we guarantee, when that owner wants to sell the property, we're contacting you right away, sending them back to you to list the property for sale.
Well, that's what we like to hear, is we're going to get our clients back.
Right.
So thank you for that. So what I would like to do is I would like to just come back, and I know that you're having an event. You have an event that on June 7th. Can you tell us a little bit about this event?
Absolutely. So I'm, one of those people that real estate, I kind of geek out about it. Like it's what I'm passionate about. So we have this monthly event. It's for real estate investors. And we kind of get together and we have a different topic every month. So we'll have different people speak to kind of share their either investment strategy, or if they have a business related to real estate, they'll kind of talk about their services. And this next one, it's in Palatine at Lamplighters, and that's on June 7th from 6 to 9 in the evening. And we'll have like pizza and drinks and stuff. There's no charge to come. And anyone that's interested in real estate or thinking about investing, it's a good opportunity to kind of network with other people that are doing it. So,
do you happen to know what the topic is that you're going to be talking about that night?
So they're actually having me speak on that night.
Oh, okay. Is it going to be talking about your Keyrenter property management?
Yeah, we'll dive into property management a little bit more detail, but yeah, it's going to be on property management. Yeah.
Awesome. So Tony, I would love to thank you so much for coming on board and doing this stream live with me. I think it's for all of those out there that are looking to make real estate an investment opportunity, maybe if you're interested, give Tony a call, because it will take the headache out of taking care of your tenants and also maintaining your property. So again, Tony, if you would not mind just letting everybody know how they can get in touch with you, that would be great.
Thank you again, Don. This was great. I appreciate the opportunity. People can get a hold of me on the phone. It's 847-407-1212, or by email, Tony@KeyrenterNorthwestChicago.com.
And everybody out there, I just want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Meet the Expert on the Block. Please stay tuned for another Expert on the Block. I don't know when it's going to be, but if you're following me on Dawn Block Realtor, you will be notified. So until the next time we meet, I want to thank you for joining us, and everybody have a great rest of your week. Thanks again.
Thank you.